Now to the dangerous triple threat: floods in the east and heat and fires in the west. Nearly 80 million at risk along both coasts. In the east, flash floods have washed out roads and bridges, forcing a number of rescues. While in the west, scorching temperatures are fueling a massive wildfire that's threatening a national treasure. We have it all covered tonight, beginning with NBC's Katie Beck in Pennsylvania.
On the East Coast, 37 million under flood watches. Rescues before dawn in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Roads inundated. Watch out, Sally girl. As residents try to outrun rising water.
We just grabbed our cats and loaded up in a car in the back of the garage and took off.
Andrew Fenrich bought his home just a month ago. Surrounding floodwater has now receded, but a warning remains.
There's another storm coming, so hopefully it doesn't flood it out again.
Others staying put despite a first floor still underwater.
Are you at all worried about your safety?
I'm not going to let a little bit of rain, push me out of my home.
Some prepared for the worst.
We've been here since about noon yesterday.
Now working to keep floodwater out.
Water is coming in as fast as it's going out.
Yep.
And no amusement at nearby theme parks. Hershey Park closed for a second day this week. The threat still far from over. Katie Beck, NBC News, Hummelstown, Pennsylvania.
We have plenty of water we can send to Mars if it doesn't have enough.
We can send some to Mars.
I was going to say, the last thing I think we want to hear right now is water. We've got a lot of it, and at this point, this is day 5 now of rain. Some of us saying, hey, we've got to be doing something, and check out Millersville. Whether it's practice, we've got it happening, and it's raining right now at Millersville University, but hey, we got to do something. It's now 5 days of this rain, but the good news is it will be ending tonight, but we will be seeing more flooding continue the next couple of days. This is today's rainfall. 2 inches, Glen Rock, Red Line, Fort Indiantown Gap, Elizabethtown. York, Lancaster County seem to be getting quite a bit.
Let's keep track of.
A lot of warnings to keep track of, and a lot of flooded roads as well. So remember, never drive through flooded roads. You might find something new on your morning commute today. So please heed those warnings, heed those barricades put in by your local authorities. So here are the flood warnings in effect for our region. The darker green shades are aerial flood warnings for most of the area. That goes until noon. So this is for small streams and creeks and urban areas that has been extended by the National Weather Service. Now, this is just in the past 24 hours. These are radar estimated rainfall totals where you see the oranges through portions of York, Lancaster, Dauphin, Lebanon, Schuylkill counties. That is 3 or more inches of rain.
Swedera Creek and Dauphin County are expected to begin improving today, but there's a lot of damage that's been done. This is a side-by-side comparison of the Duke Street Bridge in Hummelstown. The bridge was replaced in 2014. Improvements were also made to the boat launch, which is now underwater. You can just make out the top guardrails on the bridge as they're hit by rushing water and debris.
About 16 feet. It's expected to crest sometime today. At 17, you can see the water just right below that stop sign. Now, look in the distance. You can see all of that debris and possibly a railing too. Well, that's actually the Duke Street Bridge, believe it or not, now covered in water. We have an aerial view of what this area looked like yesterday. You can really get a sense of just how high water levels are. The road is barely visible. Lots of branches, even a dumpster now floating right next to the bridge that was just built about a year ago. Now, the creek is causing problems for neighboring communities too. Over in Swedera Township, people in 40 homes on Joyce Lane were forced to leave because of flooding. Leaders are used to this before because they've dealt with this before back in 2011, but conditions were far worse then, with water levels at about 26 feet. People who live in the area lived through that and knew once the levels started to rise that they should just leave. But today is going to be a dry day. Finally, some relief, and people will begin cleaning up their homes, pumping all of that water out of their basements. I'm sure some contractors are going to be very busy today, but some people
Floods and fires, overnight downpours adding to days of misery in the east. Entire neighborhoods now underwater from historic flooding.
Let's start with that devastating rain and flooding. NBC's Katie Beck is just east of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Katie, good morning.
Good morning, Craig. We have seen days of downpour here in central Pennsylvania, and this is what's left behind. Roads and bridges completely submerged, neighborhoods just overtaken by these floodwaters. Many of the homes in this area have 2 or 3 feet of standing water inside. Now, some people may have underestimated just how powerful this water was going to be, and later had to be rescued by boat. North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, and many parts of the eastern seaboard flooded. The storm also bringing debris and heartache.
Folks are still out there looking for the missing 19-year-old girl.
That missing teenager swept away by floodwaters in Pennsylvania. Authorities urging residents to be vigilant.
Attempting to drive or walk through high water can have deadly consequences. Turn around, don't drown.
Watch out, Sally girl. Some residents taking no chances and evacuating. Others doing their best to take things in stride.
It's just a little water. It's not going to hurt anything.
Looks like your whole house is pretty flooded on the first floor.
Well, yeah, the first floor is kind of flooded out. I'm not going to let a little bit of rain, push me out of my home.
For those that remain, authorities offering a message of comfort and hope.
When Mother Nature is at her worst, our first responders are and will continue to be at their best.
A strong helping hand to those still weathering the storm. Relief is in sight as most of this bad weather is supposed to be moving out of this area by this weekend. But just to put the amount of rainfall in perspective for you, the National Weather Service says that the amount of rainfall here in central Pennsylvania this week is enough to fill 3 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. Pretty staggering number when you think about it. Craig and Hoda?
Katie, back in hard-hit central PA. Katie, thanks.
All right, let's move on now to those.
Coverage you can count on continues. This is a WGAL News 8 update.
Good morning to you. I'm Lori Burkholder. Hershey Park and Zoo America will open today, as will Knoebels in Elysburg, Northumberland County. Hershey Park was closed 3 days this week because of the flooding inside the park, as well as many roads surrounding that park as well. And Harrisburg City Island, that's